Hey, Honors Geometry, Mr. Clark here. Let's take a look at example 5 and 6, where we'll be using the angle of elevation and the angle of depression to solve a couple word problems. So example 5, we have Leah who wants to see a castle in an amusement park. She views the top of the castle at an angle of elevation of 38 degrees. She knows that the castle is 190 feet tall. She's 5.5 feet tall herself, and we want to know how far away she is from the castle to the nearest foot. So notice in the hints, it says since Leah is 5.5 feet, BC is going to be 190 minus 5.5. Now let's look at why we're doing it that way. So if we're looking up from an angle of elevation, remember that's looking up from a horizontal. And that horizontal, or the bottom side of the triangle, happens to be Leah's sight line, like if she's looking straight forward. So if she's looking up at a 38-degree angle of elevation from that, just remember that the opposite side of the triangle that we can make out of this, it isn't the whole 190 feet, because that triangle doesn't start until it's 5.5 feet off the ground, because we're talking about, looking up from Leah's horizontal sight line. So remember that, guys. When we start off and find BC, it's not going to be 190 feet because this triangle doesn't start on the ground. It starts 5.5 feet up. So that's our first step. We have to find out the length of BC, and that's easy enough. We subtract 5.5 from 190, and we know that side length is actually 184.5. So now I drew the triangle down here just so we could see it a little bit more clearly. We have our 38 degrees. We have the BC being 184.5, and we have X, the distance we're looking for. Now, just like the other SOHCAHTOA examples, I'm going to look through the perspective of the angle given, 38, and notice that BC is opposite, so I'm going to label that O, and AC here is adjacent, so I'm going to label that A. So we have O and A, which means we're doing the TOA part of SOHCAHTOA, so we're going to be using tangent. So we set up tangent of 38 degrees equals 184.5 over X. Remember, you guys can use that arrow shortcut I showed you last time, where X and tangent of 38 will just switch spots if you just draw an arrow in there. But just to show you where that shortcut comes from, it's because we multiply by X on both sides, so it cancels on the right side, comes over to the left, and then we're going to divide the tangent of 38 back to the right-hand side, cancels on the left-hand side, and then ends up being our denominator on the right-hand side because we want X by itself. So X is equal to 184.5 divided by the tangent of 38. So you should get 236.15 feet there on your calculator. And we're going to round that to the nearest foot as the directions told us. So it's going to be 236 feet. All right, looking at example 6. So we have a search and rescue team. It's airlifting people from the scene of a boating accident when they observe another person is 42 degrees downward from an angle of depression there. So the helicopter is 18 feet above the water, and they want to know, how far away the rescuer is to this person that we see to the nearest foot. So now remember, that's a 42-degree angle of depression right there, but this is a horizontal line right here. Now that's going to be parallel with the horizontal line formed at the water's surface, or the bottom of this triangle that they drew, if you want to use that. But remember, guys, we have an alternate interior angles situation here. So 42 degrees right there is going to be 42 degrees right there. So using the triangle that they drew in for us, I labeled in comparison to 42. It looks like 18 is opposite from that. The height right there to the helicopter, and X is going to be adjacent. So again, O and A, we got TOA, we're going to use the tangent. So we set up the tangent of 42 equals 18 over X. Again, we're going to multiply by X on both sides, cancels here, goes over here. We're going to divide by the tangent of 42 on both sides. So when we do 18 divided by the tangent of 42, you should get that X equals 19.99. Now, if you got something different and you type that in, double check your calculator. Make sure you're not in radians mode. You want to be in degrees mode. And again, we're rounding to the nearest foot, so that's going to become 20 feet. All right, so send me an email if you have any questions.